Oh, hey there, kitties. You caught me while I was just trying to get some gambling. Oh, for Christ's sake. Hello?
MCP, help. Okay, so I was shooting new encounter videos, right?
Look, okay, Mango, it's nice and all that you called me, but I'm in the middle of doing an introduction.
I don't really think you understand. You're the only one that can help me here, and I really need your help.
I'm sure you're fine, Mango. Now, if you'd excuse me for just a second, I kind of have a story I need to be telling for tonight.
Wait, no, I need your help first.
Yeah, nice talking to you. Bye! And right in the middle of my game. Well, everybody, now that that's done with, how about we get on to tonight's story, huh? I have a lovely little story for you tonight. A bit of a tale lost to time, if you will, about one of America's funniest funny men. Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor has been hailed as the greatest comedian of all time, doing stand-up until about 1984, give or take a small amount of time. Or at least, that's what I thought. According to witness accounts, there's been reports of Pryor continuing to do stand-up until as late as 2001, until the MS made it too difficult for him to continue performing. But why haven't you heard of him doing this? Simple. He was tired of touring. He wanted to entertain people on his own terms, using whatever material that he wanted. So he started hitting up comedy clubs along the lower west coast, and even some smaller places in Canada. He was incredibly difficult to not get noticed, being the greatest stand-up ever, so he wore disguises that almost always worked. But occasionally, his ego got the better of him and he went a few times to incredibly rural areas without anything covering his face. But these were the few times that I got witness accounts. Here's the only willing person that I was able to find who tracked down his shows for about 6 months in the early 90s, and again in 1998 and 99.
Apparently, people tried to take photos when he was doing this shit unmasked. And those people got dragged outside and beaten senseless, once or twice to the point of death, to act as an example. Remember how he kept doing movies until the late 90s? Well, notice how his ego is mostly what exploded there. Cast members in their late 80s onward talked about this. And this was further shown when it was brought to my attention that he liked to talk about at his shows how a person be getting better material by the day, Carlin be shuffling his shit around for the past 30 years. He started to get angrier as his sets went on, complaining about why everything in the world is wrong. And at a point did a few sets where there weren't even jokes, just him yelling at the crowd. And after these sets, he just walked back off stage like he was a completely different person.
Even more curious, I heard he made one more concert film privately. That was leaked to Jennifer Lee, Pryor's final wife and manager, just last year. It was an hour and 22 minutes, and the file was titled RP Existence. According to reports, it was shot at Laugh Factory with a camera that looked like it was straight out of the mid-80s. I had to hassle Jennifer Lee to release the details, when she eventually broke down when I confronted her in the streets. Crying, she told me about the horrifying picture.
It must have taken place in 2001 or 2002. Richard made many of those business trips for those few years, even though he needed assistance to get anywhere. After hours at the Laugh Factory, it was him in a room with no real crowd, but just him, standing in front of an unplugged microphone in the darkness. because of the distance of the camera. I could barely make out his face, but based on his expression, it was clear as day. He spent 30 or 35 minutes telling inaudible jokes and just laughing hysterically to himself after he told them. And he looked like he hadn't slept in days and was almost skeletally thin. 2 minutes after this, though, the man just snapped. He started screaming words that I could barely make out, moving so rapidly, like he was gonna have a seizure. And then he just fell out of his chair, flat on his face. His mobility device drifted into the distance. Flat on his face, in a nearly decomposed shape. He was twitching, but then stopped, and was there until the video had just a minute or so left. And then I noticed something horrifying. A tall man, in a dark suit with some odd mask on, just came into the picture and stared at him, deathly still, as the video stops.
She said all this in tears. And when I mentioned that the screams had to be partially audible due to the area of the Laugh Factory, she grew pale and stumbled away as if her heart had been shattered instantaneously.